Imagine being hundreds of feet beneath the ocean's surface, surrounded by crushing silence, your air running out, your body screaming for release. In that moment, surrender feels easier than fighting, but one choice changes everything. This is not just a story of survival. It's a story of courage born in the darkest depths, where fear met determination, and the will to live refused to break. The ocean has always held a mysterious charm, a mixture of serenity and danger woven together in a way that pulls people closer to its depths. The surface sparkles like glass beneath the sunlight, calm and endless, hiding the powerful world that thrives below. The moment the dive begins, there is an instant shift. The noise of the world above fades away, replaced by the muffled silence of water pressing against every side. Breathing becomes measured, steady, and deliberate, each breath a reminder of the fragile line separating life and death beneath the waves. The descent begins gently. The water feels cool and welcoming, carrying weightless movement that brings both comfort and thrill. Schools of fish scatter in unison, moving like threads of silver weaving through the blue. Coral sways softly, almost as if the ocean itself is alive and breathing. There is a beauty in the silence, a kind of peace that cannot be found anywhere else. For a while, it feels as though time has slowed, as if the world has granted permission to escape from chaos and simply exist among creatures that know nothing of fear or struggle. Every movement feels deliberate, controlled, and in harmony with the water's rhythm. The heartbeat settles into a slower pace, no longer rushing, but sinking with the current. Every bubble that escapes and drifts upward reminds that there is still a connection to the surface, a fragile thread linking this silent world to the one above. It is easy to be lulled into a sense of security here, surrounded by wonder and silence, forgetting that beneath the beauty lies an unforgiving truth. As the descent deepens, light begins to fade. The once brilliant rays of the sun soften, filtering into shades of blue and green that darken with every meter. Shadows stretch long, and the water grows cooler. The silence becomes heavier, pressing not just on the body but on the mind. The deeper the journey, the stronger the awareness that this world is not designed for human lungs. It is a borrowed space, one that allows entry only for as long as equipment and strength will permit. What was once calm begins to carry a different feeling. The gentle sway of water becomes more forceful, subtle currents tugging from directions unseen. The body responds instinctively, adjusting movements to balance against the pull, conserving energy while maintaining control. The calmness of the dive is still present, but beneath it grows a quiet tension, a reminder that the ocean can shift in a moment. There is a fine line between beauty and peril, and here that line blurs. The coral, once bright and welcoming, now resembles a maze. Shadows move differently, and the once familiar path upward feels farther away. The silence, which had offered comfort, becomes almost deafening, amplifying the sound of each breath, each bubble, each heartbeat. The sense of solitude transforms, no longer a gentle escape, but a realization of vulnerability in a world where survival depends on balance, precision, and calm. The body continues to move through the water, deliberate and steady, but the mind begins to sharpen with awareness. Every detail is noticed: the narrowing light, the weight of pressure against the chest, the resistance of the water against every stroke. Each moment brings an understanding that the margin for error is thin. The ocean does not forgive mistakes, it simply consumes them. Even in this realization, there is a strange beauty. To be in such a place, surrounded by vastness and silence, is to face a raw truth about existence itself. The surface, filled with noise and distraction, feels like a distant memory here. In its place is an environment that demands respect, patience, and courage. The ocean asks nothing and offers nothing freely. It exists as it always has, mighty, indifferent, and infinite. For a while, the illusion of safety lingers. The mind clings to the sense of peace that began at the surface, but deep within, the undercurrent of unease grows. It is subtle at first, like a whisper, reminding that time is not infinite, that air is not endless. The stillness of the body masks the quiet calculation of the mind, measuring distance, considering strength, and weighing the fragile balance between wonder and risk. The deeper the stillness settles, the more the ocean reveals its hidden truth. It is not only a place of life and beauty, but also a place of challenge, where survival is a negotiation with forces far greater than any individual. The calm before the storm is deceptive. It invites trust, lures the spirit into letting go, only to test its resolve in ways that cannot be anticipated. Every dive begins with this calm, a serenity that soothes and distracts, a peace that feels unshakable. Yet, within that peace lies the seed of the storm, waiting quietly, reminding that beneath the beauty of the ocean's embrace is a world that demands not just skill but courage. The stillness before the test is both a gift and a warning, one that prepares the mind for the moment when calm shifts to chaos, and survival becomes the only focus. Fear has a way of creeping in when silence grows too heavy. At first, it arrives quietly, almost unnoticed, like a shadow moving just out of sight. The steady rhythm of breathing, once calm and reassuring, begins to feel strained. Each inhale seems tighter, each exhale shorter, as though the very air is slipping away faster than it should. The body knows what the mind refuses to admit. The environment is unforgiving, and the margin between life and death is shrinking with every second. In the darkness of the deep, fear does not roar, it whispers. It whispers of limits, of fragile lungs, of the weight of the water pressing down. The ocean that had felt vast and beautiful moments ago now feels like a cage, each layer of water a barrier that stands between survival and suffocation. Panic knocks at the edges of thought, eager to take control, but panic is the enemy. To give in would mean surrender, and surrender beneath the waves means silence forever. Instinct awakens in these moments, sharp and unyielding. Muscles tighten, not in weakness, but in preparation. The heart pounds faster, pumping with a force that seems to echo through the chest. Adrenaline surges, bringing clarity to a mind clouded by fear. Every sense heightens. The taste of salt on the lips, the cold brush of water against skin, the way currents pull and shift with invisible hands. This is not the time for hesitation. This is the moment when every action matters, when every second is a choice between despair and determination. The struggle between fear and instinct is relentless. Fear begs for retreat, for surrender to the crushing pressure, for the release of control. Instinct, however, demands fight. It commands the body to move, to push through the ache in the lungs, to conserve every ounce of strength. The silence of the deep becomes a battlefield, and the only weapon is willpower. Breathing, once mechanical and unnoticed, now dominates every thought. Each inhale feels heavier, the air thinner. The mind calculates the remaining reserves, but numbers do not matter now. What matters is resolve. Fear may remind that air is running out, but instinct reminds that every breath taken is still a victory, proof that life is clung to with all the force left inside. Movements become sharper, more focused. Arms cut through the water with precision, legs kick with deliberate rhythm. There is no room for wasted energy, no space for error. The ocean resists with its weight, currents shifting unpredictably, but the body adapts. Every push upward feels like defiance, a refusal to be consumed by the depths. Fear may scream in the background, but instinct leads the way. The battle within grows louder. The chest burns with the effort of holding on, and the mind wrestles with images of what could be lost if control slips. Yet, even in the suffocating grip of fear, there is a spark of clarity. It is the realization that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. The fear remains, pressing hard, but instinct channels it into movement, into determination, into survival. The silence of the ocean makes this struggle even more intense. No voices, no sound, just the muffled rush of water and the pounding of a heart racing against time. In that silence, fear feels larger, but instinct grows louder too. Each decision, to keep moving, to stay calm, to fight the pull of panic, is a choice to live. The body may be fragile, but the will to endure is not. Every stroke forward feels like tearing away from the grip of the sea. The body aches, lungs burn, yet the fight continues. Fear still lurks, whispering that it cannot be done, but instinct proves otherwise with each second that passes. Muscles scream with exhaustion, yet they obey, driven not by strength alone, but by something deeper, an unshakable refusal to give in. The conflict between fear and instinct is the essence of survival. One seeks to paralyze, to make the body give up before the end. The other drives forward, even when every sensation demands release. To survive is to let instinct lead, to let courage rise above terror, to let the will to live outshine the temptation of surrender. And so the battle rages, not against the ocean itself, but within the soul. The waves, the darkness, the pressure, they are only obstacles. The true struggle lies in mastering fear, in allowing instinct to guide the way through the chaos. In the end, it is not the strength of the body that decides survival, but the strength of the spirit, refusing to let fear write the final chapter. In the most fragile moments of life, everything narrows down to a single decision. There are times when choices are small, easy, forgettable, but in the face of survival, a single choice carries the weight of existence itself. Underwater, in a place where time feels suspended and the body is pushed beyond its natural limits, this truth becomes unavoidable. Every second grows heavier, every breath more precious, and every thought is sharpened into one undeniable realization. One choice determines whether the story continues or ends. The ocean does not bend to desperation. It does not pause for pleading hearts or grant favors to those unprepared. It simply exists, vast and unyielding, demanding respect and testing resolve. Within that unforgiving silence comes the moment when surrender seems easier, almost tempting. To give up is simple. It requires no effort, no fight, just a release into stillness. The thought hovers dangerously close, whispering that peace might be found in letting go. Yet the spark of life inside resists, fueled not by reason, but by something deeper, an instinctive force that clings fiercely to survival. The chest burns with the weight of limited air, each inhale drawing less comfort and more urgency. Muscles, already fatigued, cry for relief, begging for rest. The mind, clouded by exhaustion, teeters between clarity and chaos. This is the precipice, the razor's edge where one wrong choice leads to finality. But even as fear claws at the edges, there is a sudden sharpening of focus. In that space of desperation, the decision to fight emerges, not as a thought, but as a conviction. To fight is to embrace pain, to accept that every second will hurt more than the last. It is to defy the overwhelming pressure pressing from all sides and to trust in the strength buried deep within. The decision carries with it no guarantees. It does not promise safety, nor does it erase the danger. It only demands faith in endurance, faith in the ability to push beyond limits that seemed unbreakable. Choosing to fight is choosing to believe that survival is still possible, even when every sign says otherwise. The ocean tests that choice instantly. Every movement feels heavier, every stroke slower, as if the water itself resists progress. Currents pull with invisible hands, dragging against effort. Darkness surrounds, making direction uncertain, and the mind must fight not only the environment, but the rising tide of panic within. Still, the choice to resist surrender drives action. The body responds, shaky but determined, guided by instinct more than thought. Each kick forward, each push against the weight of the sea, is an act of rebellion, a refusal to bow to the inevitable. This is not about strength alone. Muscles can fail, breath can weaken, but willpower remains when the body reaches its limit. The will becomes the anchor, the guiding force that pulls each motion forward. The single decision, made in the darkest moment, transforms into countless smaller decisions. Each breath, each movement, each adjustment made to conserve energy and fight despair. One choice becomes a chain of actions, each linked to survival. The burning in the lungs intensifies, sharp and searing, but it is endured. The arms ache, leaden with fatigue, but they do not stop. The mind battles waves of fear, but it refuses to surrender control. The decision to fight has already been made, and there is no turning back. It is no longer about whether survival is guaranteed. It is about refusing to let go until every last ounce of strength has been spent. Within this struggle, there is clarity unlike any other. All distractions fade away, no thoughts of yesterday, no concerns for tomorrow. There is only the present moment, sharpened to a razor's edge, where every action matters. Survival is no longer abstract. It is immediate, real, and entirely dependent on persistence. The choice to keep moving becomes sacred, a vow silently repeated with every beat of the heart. And yet, even as exhaustion deepens, something remarkable happens. The act of fighting creates its own momentum. Each successful stroke, each small gain against the water, builds confidence. The body, though weary, begins to realize it can endure more than it thought possible. The mind, though clouded with fear, recognizes its power to master panic. This realization transforms the struggle not into ease, but into resilience. The ocean may remain vast and unyielding, but the spirit within proves it can be just as relentless. The weight of the sea continues pressing down. The darkness still surrounds, but the choice has shifted the balance. What once felt like inevitable defeat now feels like a challenge to overcome. The fight may still hurt, every breath may still burn, but each second survived is a victory, a defiance of the silence that sought to claim control. The power of a single decision is profound. It is not made lightly, and it is not made without fear. But once chosen, it changes everything. To surrender means ending in silence. To fight means embracing pain for the chance at life. And in that choice, the human spirit shows its true strength. It is not the environment that defines the outcome, nor the circumstances alone, but the decision to rise above despair and push forward despite it. One decision, made in the darkest depths, holds the power to shift fate. It does not erase danger, but it transforms fear into focus, weakness into resilience, and despair into determination. That choice, simple yet monumental, is what separates endings from new beginnings, silence from survival. The surface breaks with a gasp, a violent rush of air filling lungs that had been burning for relief. In that single moment, the world shifts from suffocating silence to an explosion of sound waves crashing, water dripping, the rhythm of breath returning with desperate urgency. The sky stretches above, wide and endless, a reminder of the freedom that had seemed so distant only seconds before. Survival is no longer an abstract hope. It is real, tangible, and overwhelming in its intensity. Rising from the depths is not only a physical act, but an emotional rebirth. Every sensation is heightened: the sting of salt on the skin, the cool rush of air in the chest, the sight of light dancing on the water's surface. Each detail feels sharper, almost sacred, as though the world has been rediscovered. What had been taken for granted before, the simple act of breathing, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of the wind, now carries a weight beyond measure. Life is not just restored, it is renewed. The struggle beneath the waves lingers in memory, not as a mark of weakness, but as proof of strength that had never been fully realized before. The depths tested every limit, stripped away every illusion of control, and forced a confrontation with raw instinct. In the fight against suffocation, against pressure, against fear itself, the spirit uncovered something unshakable, a resilience that might have remained hidden had the trial not been endured. Every story of survival carries with it more than just the memory of danger. It becomes a reminder of what lies within the human spirit when confronted with the impossible. Rising from the depths is more than escaping the ocean's grip. It is a declaration that courage can outlast fear, that determination can outweigh despair, and that life can be reclaimed even when all seemed lost. The waves no longer feel like an enemy, but a witness to the strength that emerged in silence. The air feels sweeter, each inhale like a gift, each exhale a quiet celebration. There is no longer a need to think about what might have been lost. There is only gratitude for what has been regained. The heart, still racing from the ordeal, beats with a rhythm that affirms the value of every second purchased through struggle. The body may ache, lungs may burn, but pain itself becomes proof of endurance. It is not weakness, but evidence of survival. In moments like these, the world appears different. The horizon seems wider, the sky brighter, and the smallest details feel alive with meaning. The ocean that once threatened now glimmers with beauty once more, though it is a beauty viewed with deeper respect. The line between life and death, so narrowly walked, gives new depth to the appreciation of existence. What once was ordinary now feels extraordinary: breathing, seeing, feeling. All of it a reminder of how fragile yet powerful life truly is. Survival is never just about the body. It is about the spirit that refuses to surrender. Rising from the depths shows that endurance is born not in comfort, but in the fire of adversity. The storm beneath the water revealed the will to live in its purest form, and breaking the surface became not only an escape but a triumph. Each second above the waves is now a testament to the choice that was made in the darkest hour, the choice to fight, to endure, to rise. This kind of rebirth leaves an imprint. It changes how the world is seen, how challenges are faced, how fragile yet valuable every breath becomes. Struggles on the surface may never mirror the danger of the depths, but the lesson remains. Strength lies not in avoiding fear, but in confronting it and emerging stronger. The courage discovered beneath the water now lives in every heartbeat, a constant reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, survival is possible. The waves roll on, endless and eternal, but the one who has risen carries something the sea cannot take back: the knowledge of what it means to endure, to push beyond limits, and to reclaim life when It seemed nearly lost. That knowledge becomes a quiet source of strength, carried into every challenge that follows, shaping not only how survival is understood, but how life itself is cherished. The rebirth that comes with breaking the surface is not fleeting. It lingers in every breath, every glance at the horizon, every moment of stillness when the memory of the depths resurfaces. It is a reminder that even in the darkest silence, even when the weight of the ocean pressed hardest, the choice to rise brought victory. And that victory transformed more than a moment. It transformed an entire existence.